Hi everybody, once again you are welcome to my YouTube channel, and in this today's video I will be teaching you how to build and analyze this wonderful employees dashboard. This is a project about an employees of a company that we recently carried out in the past. So we want to know some information about the employees. I've already done this in Power BI using Microsoft Power BI. So I'm using this in Microsoft Excel for as many that will be interested. So if you're interested to learn something like this and to design a dashboard like this, let's take the ride together. I'm going to provide the data set for you to follow along. And please, if you find this video interesting and you find this video useful, please subscribe to this channel. So what we are going to do next is we go to our data, and I've already provided a frame as well that we are going to transfer our data to after we've already analyzed it. So we go to our data. From the data, our data is already in a table format. For some of you, I would like to start everything from the scratch because I've already promised to do that. I will go to the table format, and here is the table format. I'm going to convert it to range. So yes, I want to convert it to range. So already we have it in a range now. So we don't have this in a table format. Checking the top, you could see that everything, there is nowhere is written a table format or format a table. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to click on this data and I'm going to press Ctrl plus T, and pressing Ctrl plus T gives me the access to create a table within my data set. And these are my data sets, so I'm going to create a table. Now you can see create table, and you could see my table has headers, and truly my table has headers. These are the headers at the top. So I'm going to click, the next thing is I'm going to click OK. So already now we have our table in we have our data in a table format because we already created a table. I'm not going to make it a table 2, I'm going to name it as data. So that is what I'm going to name it. So we have our table name as data, which is very nice. And the next thing we are going to do, we are going to insert a pivot table. This is just the ordinary table, which is different from the pivot table. In the ordinary table, there is no how we could analyze our data and build some chart. As you could see, there is no how. For instance, now if I want to know the gender, probably by revenue, there's no how I could do that here because there are too many. We have male and female, we have male and female that occur severally. So what I'm going to do is we are going to insert a pivot table. And from the pivot table, we have what we call a recommended. This means Microsoft Excel will be the one to recommend this for you and also recommend some chart for you. This is good. As a beginner, you can use recommended. Even as an advanced user, sometimes we, or a pro, we use a recommended table, pivot table sometimes. But for learning purpose, we are going to start from just inserting the pivot table, and I'm going to click on that, and you can see already my table or range. Remember, I've already named my table as data, and this is the data we have. New worksheet. We are going to use a new worksheet, not an existing worksheet, and I'm going to click OK. So already I have the pivot table opened. You could see pivot table 2 because I've already used a pivot table 1 by building this wonderful and astonished dashboard. So we go back to our sheet 2, and I'm going to drag this, and I'm going to drag it here, and I'm going to name it gender because I've already used gender before. I will not be able to use agenda. The second time, I'm going to add X at the back. Otherwise, Microsoft Excel will not allow me to be able to use the same name. Then I will come back to the pivot table fields. These are the pivot table fields, and I'm going to look for the gender first, and I'm going to put the gender on the row. So you could see we have our gender. If I click outside this and you see this disappear, what I will do, I will come back to click on this. It will surely appear again. And you can also see I have my field headers here, but in case you click out and you try to click here and it's not, your pivot table field is not showing, the next thing we could just do is right click here. Just right click. When you right click, it will say, in your home case, it will show field list. But in my home case, it's showing hide field list because already my field list is already opened, but it's asking me to hide. But in your home case, if you couldn't see it after clicking on the data that you have here, then you can just right click and come down here. So that is the first thing for me to teach you, for you to know. Then the next thing we do is we look for employees number, or we look for employees count. Employees count. Let me look for employees count, and we bring the employees count and we put it here. So we are having this as the employees count. Already you might put it and it might be showing as sum, but we are not using sum, we are using count. If yours is showing sum, what you just have to do is come down to value field setting, right click and move down to value field setting, and from the value field setting you can just change it to we are having sum in our own case and it should be count. Let me see, it's giving us the same thing, either count or sum, we are using the same thing. I think that's actually good. So we click OK. So this is the type of chart that we are going to use. So we go back to our agenda and I'm going to chart already, go to insert, from insert go to chart, and I'm not going to pick this is what we used. So I'm going to click on this, I'll move this here and I'm going to hide this. How will I hide it? I will right click and move to hide all field button on chart. That has removed. I will right click. I can right click and add data label, or I can as well add data label from here, any of the two. But just for me, I normally prefer using right click and add a data label. And already we couldn't see it because it's dark. I'm going to click on it, go to home tab, and I'm going to make it white, and I'm also going to make it bold. So you see, this is white. We are going to see it when we are using our background. Then the total, the name I'm going to use, let's leave the name first. We'll think about it, or probably we'll go back to our report. Which name do we use? Gender wise. So we'll go back and we'll make it a gender wise. So that is the name we are using, gender wise. Already we are done with this, and we are going to put it aside. Let's put it here. The next thing we are going to do is we can just copy this. And how do we copy this? Control on your keyboard and you drag. So it will give you a control. It will give you a copy. Then after that, the next thing we are going to do is we are going to the education wise. So we don't need this. We can actually remove this. This is not needed anymore. Then we'll come back to this. We are going to remove the gender because we don't need the gender again. So the gender can be removed from here. and we are going to put the education. Let's look for the education and let's add the education to it. And if it's taking time, you can just type with the education. You can just search for it. Already we have the education. Just put it and put the education here. Already we have the education. And what we are going to do in the case of the education, we are going to use a count as well. Instead of using a sum, or we use a sum instead of using a count. Let me go back and let me go to private session and let me go to already is a count. Let me see sum and let me see using employees count. We are using a placement count. Let's remove this and we are putting, let's remove employees count. I didn't remove this, so let's put placement count. We see the placement count and let's put it here. So we have our placement count and everything is good. Then the next thing is let's sort. We right click and we go to sort. Let's sort from the smallest to biggest. So we've already sorted that already. The next thing is we are going to insert our chart. And which chart should we use in case of this? We are going to use a bar chart. So we come back here, we click on this, and we are going to just click on this, or probably let's highlight it like this, and let's go to insert. From the insert, we can as well use either pivot chart. Let's click on pivot chart and let's see, this is column chart. We are not using column chart, we are using a bar chart. Let's click on bar chart and we are clicking OK. So we bring this here. Remember, we've already sorted it, so that's why we are having it this way. We are going to hide this as well. Come down to right click and go to hide or field buttons on chart. Everything we hide. So we remove this. We don't actually need it. The line is here. We remove it as well. We don't need it. We don't need this as well. Let's remove it. Let this be removed. Everything is perfectly done. Then I'm coming back here to check which name do we use. We used education by placement. Let's go back. And remember, we have to rename this as education by placement. Education by placement. We are having this education by placement, and we are having this as education by, don't worry, you can just undo it will come back, undo again. So we have this education by placement. So that is the name we are going to use. Education by placement. So we have that. And the next thing we are going to do, we are going to right click this. We are going to add a data label, which is very nice. And if I'm making this white, we won't be able to see it, but we still have to make it white. So we leave it like that and we come back here. And I'm going to Ctrl+1. Ctrl+1, clicking on that, we come to this format data series, and I want to make it somehow bigger. I want to make it somehow bigger as well, still somehow bigger as well, and that is perfectly good. We are done with that. We are still going to format some things from there, so let's leave it like this. We have done with the education one. Then the next thing is going to be placement by job. So we can as well copy this, you drag and you move down here, and we are going to name it job placement. Job placement. So we're having this as job placement. Please, if you find this video interesting and useful in any way, please subscribe to this channel. Thank you for doing that. We're going to remove this. We actually don't want that. And the next thing we are going to do is we've already done education. Then we are going to also we remove this. We don't need this. These are the things we don't need. So we are going to, let's remove this from here. Then we are going to remove the education, and we are going to use our job. We are going to use our job role. Let's look for the job role. If you can find, you can just type here, just role, and the role will be showing. So by doing that, it will bring it out. Probably it's taking time to search for it. We have role. This is the role. So I'm going to pick the role and I'm going to put it here. So we have the role already, and we are going to use a tree map for this. That is what we are going to use. And I want to show you something. For instance, I'm trying to insert a tree map now. Let's go to insert. From insert, this is the tree map. I'm going to insert a tree map. You can see you can't create these charts type with data inside the pivot table. Please select different chart type or copy the data outside the pivot table. So we are going for the second option. The first option is we select a different chart type, which we don't want to. And the second option is or copy the data outside the pivot table, which we are going to pick the second option. So we are going to copy the data outside the pivot table, and we are just going to put it here, and we just go back to our home. From the home tab, place special, and we are going to have it this way. I will expand this to cover this, and I'm also going to expand this as well for the name to show. And this is going to be the role. Escape key to remove that. So this is going to be the role, not role label. I'm going to having that, and I'm going to have this as placement. I'm not going to use a placement account, just a placement. So we have everything perfectly done. Then now we can insert our tree map. I go back and I'm going to click on this tree map, and we are having our tree map ready to use. I don't want this, so I'm going to remove all this. And the next thing is the title, the job placement. Let's just put it straightforward, job placement. What happened? Let me go back again, let me undo. Job placement, remember to do that. We are using a job placement. Job placement, we already have that. Then the next thing we are going to do is I'm going to right click, and I want to add a data label here, and I will come back here, and this is a data label already showing, so you can see we have it show. Then I will correct this later. We can actually move on. The data label will show without you just writing it. The next thing we are going to do is we copy this as well, and we go to the next one, which is going to be the department wise. Then department wise, we are going to use our department and we are going to use the placement. So we can copy this as well, and let's have this copied. We copy this and we drag it. Control on your keyboard, then you drag with your mouse. Then we are having this, and we are going to name it department wise. Department. I'm going to shorten it because I've already used it, and Microsoft Excel might not allow me to use the same name again, so I'm going to shorten it to be department wise. And we don't need this. I'm going to remove this. This can be removed. I'm going to clear this away. I actually don't need it also. Come here, clear content. Then I will come back to here. And what am I going to use here? I'm going to remove the row from it, and I'm going to look for the department. The department is there. I'm going to put the department here. And another thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to use a placement. I'm going to remove this and I'm going to put the placement. Remember, we were initially using the placement count, but in the case of this, I'm not going to use a placement count. I'm going to use the placement, and I'm going to put the placement here. So we're having it like that. And the next thing, we're having count of placements. But let's go back to the placement. Let me use the placement count. Where's the placement count? Let me use the placement count. We have the placement count already, and I'm going to turn it to percentage of total. I don't want to use it as a number, so we go to show value as column total. Let me use column total and see. So I'm using it as column total. What did I do? I right click and I show value as, you could see, percentage of column total. So, and we are going to reduce this. Let's go to this. Let's decrease it. Let's decrease it further. I think that is actually okay. So we are going to, we have it as the number one, except if we want to, probably, let me see, should we make it 2? Let's make it, okay, let's make it like this. This is good. And we are going to use a bar chart for this. And we are going to highlight, and we go to our insert, and we are going to make our bar chart, and we are using our normal bar chart. So we are going to right click as usual, and we are going to hide or field button or chart. Then we are leaving this like this, and the next thing we are going to do, we are going to put our data label, and we are having the percentage already. Then what am I going to do? I'm going to turn it to white. Let me go to home and let me make it white. So we have that already, and we are going to name it as department. We can just make it a department. Department by what? Placement count. Or we just make by placement. Department by placement. So we have this, we can just put it here. And the next thing we do, we go to our age-wise. We go to the age-wise before we now move to the marital status. So we copy this as well, and you know how to copy already. we just have to control on your keyboard and you have to drag this. That is all. And we are going to make it edgewise. We make it edge because I've already used it before, so I may not be able to use edge. So I'm going to use edge by placement. So probably that way make it useful. Edge by placement, and we have edge by placement. So we are going to remove this. We don't need this. We come back, we click on this, and we look for the edge bracket, edge band. So let's remove this, and we look for the edge band. I will put the edge band, then we leave it this way because we're actually going to use this, but we are not going to use it in the case of percentage of grand total. So we go to value field settings and we change it to sum. Okay, we remove this and let's look for our placement count, and just put it there already. We have our placement count, and this is the placement count here. And we are going to is already sorted, and we are going to use a column chart. So let me have this. I'm going to insert. From insert, let me go to pivots. Already we have a column chart given to us already, and I'm going to click OK because that is what we actually want to use. And already we are going to hide, and we remove this. And the next thing is we don't want this. We remove this as well. We don't want this. We remove this. And the next thing is we don't want this. We remove this. And we are going to include our data label. So we have the data label already. And the next thing is I'm going to click on this. Let me click out, click on all, and I'm going to use Control 1 because I actually want to make it more bigger somehow, and I'm going to not too small, big somehow. Let me just have it this way already, and it's already sorted by count. It's already sorted by count, so we are leaving it that way. If we are to sort by age, we are going to have this first, so we are using to sort by the placement count. So let's leave it that way. And the next thing is we don't want this. Let's remove this. This is being removed. You can see that is exactly what we wanted, and we've already achieved that. So the next thing is let's close this and let's try to save our work. And the next thing we'll go to the marital status, and for the marital status we are going to use our placement, and we are going to use the marital status data or column, whatever. So what do we do here? We are going to copy this, and you know how to copy. So how do we copy? We Control key on your keyboard. Let's click this out of this. Control key on your keyboard, then you drag with your mouse. Then we have this, and we are going to have this as the edgewise. So we are having this, as the marital, or we can just have it as the marital status. I think that should be fine. Remember, we don't need this, we don't need this. We take this away. So we come back to this, and we are removing this, and we are going to put our marital status. So let's look for the marital status is here. We are having our marital status, and we are removing this, and we are having our placement already there. So the next thing we do is we go to insert, and from the insert we are going to use a what? We are going to use funnel. Let's go to where the funnel is, and we are taking this funnel. The same thing happens. We can't create this chart, but this chart type with its data inside the pivot table. So what do we have to do? Either we change it or we copy, but we don't want to change it. So we go for the second option, we copy. So what should I do now? I copy this, because we don't want to go for the second option. So for the first option. So we go for the second option, which is to copy. We go back home, and I'm going to use place value already. So from there, what am I going to do next? Escape key to remove that, and I'm coming back to this, copy, and go back to insert, pivot, no, cancelled, and now we'll go back to recommended, and I'm going to use this waterfall or chart, then give me funnel. So this is okay here, but we are not having it sorted. We're having divorce, we're having married, we're having single. So let's make it from, let's sort it let's make it from the smallest to the largest. Already we are having it from the smallest to the largest, so let's make it from the largest to the smallest. We'll sort, and let's make it, we are using this, sorry. Let's come back to this, and let's sort it from the largest to smallest. So we are having from the largest to smallest, married, single, divorce. But initially I think I used from the smallest to the largest. So let's go back to the smallest to the largest. Exactly, that's what I use. So, and we are going to have this here, and we name it as the marital status. No, I don't want to remove. Let me undo. So I'm having as the marital status. Marital status. So we have this already, and we done that. The next thing is we go to our KPIs, and we are going to have all our KPIs. Like, let's move back here. You can see this is our KPIs. We are going to have total employee, we are going to have placement count, we are going to have average age, we are going to have active employees, and we are going to have placement rate. So let's go back to this. This is the last one we made, and we are going to copy, control on your keyboard and drag with your mouse. So we have this, and we are going to name this as the KPI. So these are going to be the KPIs. I've already used KPIs, so I'm going to make it KPIs. KP with small letters, KPIs. Let me see. As KPIs now, to begin, we are going to remove this. We actually don't want this. Let's remove it. We don't need this as 12. Let's go to clear, and let's clear the content. And we come back to here. We have so many things to remove from here. But the first thing we are going to do is, let's first of all, the placement. Let's remove the placement. Let's look for our employee's number. We can just type it, employee's number, and let's put it here. And let's remove this. We don't have this. This is the employee's number, and we are having a sum, but we are using a count. So we need a count. Go to value field settings and change it to count. So we're having a count. Good. So the next thing is we also had our sum of placement count. Let's look for the placement count. We go to the placement count. We also include the placement count, and exactly that is the number we want for the placement count. And we'll look for the age. And for the age, we are going to use average. Let's go back in. Right click. Sorry, not this. Right click and go to valid field settings. And let's make it average. Already, then we are going to decrease. We are going to decrease as much as we could. That is what we want. So the next thing we are going to do is this. We are going to copy this. Let's copy this and let's bring it down here, and let's escape key on your keyboard to remove that. Don't worry, we are going to reduce this back. So we have the average age. And the next thing we need is this. Let's just name it as the total employee. These are the total employees. We have it here. Then we are going to name this as the placement count. So remove the sum, and we have it as a placement count. And the third one we are going to have is at average age. Then we need active employee. Active employee. Then the next thing is active employee. Then the next thing is we need the placement rate. The placement rate. So we are done. Now, for us to get the active employee, we have to minus the age bracket. Now we want to get this active employee. Next thing is we need the active employee and we need the placement rate. To get the active employee, we are going to we are going to minus this from this, or minus this from this either. So we come here and we're going to have equal to, so we are going to have this minus this, then we click enter. So we are going to have our active employee, because this is a placement count minus the total employee. So we are having our active employee here. Then the next thing, we need our placement rates, and to get the placement rate, we are going to divide this by this. So we are going to have this divide by this. So we have our placement rate. Then we come back here, we put it in percentage, and let's try to increase it a bit. Exactly, that is what we want. So already we are done with everything. The next thing is just for us to transfer everything we have here and transfer it back the way we have it here. And I'm going to also be changing this color. So we go to our dashboard. The first one we are going to move departments by placement count. Then we move age bracket wise by placement count. So we go to our dashboard and we are going to we first of all come here. Let me expand this a bit, and let me expand this a bit as well, and let me try to move this somehow around here, and let me expand this somehow a bit. Let me expand this somehow a bit as well. I'm going to move this up. I want the line to be in the same direction, and I'm going to expand this a bit as well, so I can also as well expand this a bit. So we start by, let me click out of this. So we start by moving them one after the other, and the first thing we are going to move is age brackets. Let's look for the age by placement. We have our age by placement. We copy this. We go to our dashboard and we paste. And I'm going to reduce. I'm going to just Control 1 on my keyboard, and I'm going to no fill for me to have this background border. I'm going to have no border because I don't want a border. Then I have to go to this and the color, and I'm going to here, and I will make it white, and I will bold it. Come back here, white as well, and I will come here, and I'm going to have it as white. So that is done. Then I will go to here, and I'm going to change the color from that, and I'm going to make the color this. Let me see, are we using the same color with that? I'm going to make the color this. And the next thing is, let me click out and see exactly. Then the next thing is I'm going to copy the age wise. Let me see the age wise. Exactly, department by placement, sorry. I'm going to copy the department by placement, and I will go to the, and I'm going to place this here. Already we know I want the same color with this. So definitely I will come back to this and I will go to fill and I will try to use something like this. Let me see if it aligns with that. I want something that actually aligns with, let me see this. No, that is somehow light. Let me use this. So we're having that. That is what we want to achieve. We'll come back here and I'm going to make it no fill. And I'll come back here. Remember, we've already changed the value to white. So I'll come back here and I'm going to make it white. Then I click on this and I'm going to make it white as well. So that is done. I'm coming back here. I don't want a border. No border. Let me click out. Good. That is done already. Then the next thing is I'm going to pick the gender wise. The gender. This is the gender I'm going to pick. I'm going to pick the gender from here. I will come back here and I will place the gender. And I'm going to reduce the bits and halfway. I don't want fill. I don't want a borderline. I will just have to click here. I have to go back home and have to make it white. Then go back home as well. Make it white. I'm done with that. So that is perfectly done. The next thing I'm going to do, I will go back and pick the marita, which is going to be this. I'm going to pick this. And now we go back to, excuse me, and I will go back to the dashboard. And I'm going to paste this. And I'm going to reduce it to fit in properly. Make it fit in properly. Then I don't want no fill, no border. And I'm coming back here. And I'm going to change it to white. I'm making it white. I'll come back here. I'll also change it to white. So that has been done already. So the next thing is I'll have to check this. Let me come back to the dashboard, the report. From the report aspects, education and job role. We go to the placements. Which should come first? Education at the top, your placement follow. So, education, I'm picking the education. I'm going to the dashboard. I'm placing the education. And I'm putting it here. And next thing is I don't want a fill because I want to actually use the background. I don't want a border as well. The education, I'm changing the title to white. I'm changing the title to white as well. Then I'm changing this to white. I'm having them as white. And the next thing is I have to do is I have to change the color to something like this. Let me pick this before changing that color so that I will be able to see the color. So the next thing is going to be job role. Job role. These are the KPIs. Job placement. Okay, we'll pick the job placement. I will go back to our dashboard. Then I'm having this here. And I'm going to reduce it. One thing is we don't just analyze, we also design. And please, if you find this video useful and you come across this video, please subscribe. We don't want a line. Then we have to put this in white. You will learn how to design a dashboard when you subscribe to this channel. Then we come back to this. We want the color to be changed to something like this. So which color should we use? Let me see. Let's use this. No, I think we need something. Let me see this. I think we are good to go. So definitely we are done with this part. You can see we are having absolutely the same thing that we are having here. Now we go back to our KPIs. And I'm going to teach you what I use here and how I did it. I'm going to, this is 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to do 1, then I'm going to fast forward and do the remaining of this. So already I've done this, you've seen it, the way I did all this. I'm just going to show you how I did this, then I will fast forward and complete the rest. So that is what I'm going to do, so for you to actually see and follow along. So we come back to our dashboard, we go to the insert, then we pick our text box and we draw. We have it here, and the first thing is we have it, and we have equal to, then we go to our KPI. Probably we move the KPI here now. Let's try to drag the KPI. Maybe then we come to not equal to KPI. So we have equal to total employee. Then we click enter. Already we have it here. Then we centered it. We increase this. Then we make it white. And for the background, we don't want a fill. And the line, we don't want a line as well. Let's see. Exactly, that's what we want. 16. And let's put it. So we can just move this up. The next thing I'm going to do, let's try to reduce this. The next thing is I'm going to insert. And I'm going to shape. And I'm picking this. I'm picking this shape and I'm going to have it here. And I'm going to reduce it. I'm not going to change the color. The color will be as good as it is now. Then I can just copy this. As well, I can just take a new one. Let me see if it is copied. Otherwise, let me see if it is copied. Let me paste. If I have it copied, no. So let me go back to insert and let me take a text box and let me have it here. And I'm going to have equal to here. Then I will go to the KPI, not the KPI. Remove it, and I'm going to have the value, and I'm going to have equal to, then come back, I'm going to center it, and I'm going to change it to white, and I'm going to increase it to 16, and I'm going to bold it as well. I'm going to change to white. Let me bring it down, and I'm going to no fill, no line. That is how I did this. Then the remaining things left is I have to put hash to indicate that this is a number, not a currency. Then I can just click out, move this up. That is what I did here, exactly as how I did this. So I will go back to this. I'm going to fast forward this and make it for you to see. So we're having the same number. I can just as well go to here, copy this. We're having the same number, so I can just copy this and go back here and make it paste. Let me see. Already. Then I go back to the other ones. I can as well copy this. I can just copy this and move everything down, since we are having the same name instead of me. But I just showed you how I did it, so any other ones can be copied. So I have this already. I can just move this. I don't have to rewrite this. And I'm going to paste, and I'm having this here. Then the next thing is I'm go back to my report, and I'm going to have this copied, and I'll go back to dashboard, and I'm going to paste this. The last but not the least, I'll come back here. Let me have this and here. Good. The last but not the least, I'll come back to this, and I'm going to copy this. I'm going to dashboard, and I'm going to paste this, make it closer to this, and I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to move it down here. Then I'm coming back to this, and I'm going to copy this, and I will come back here, and I'm going to paste. So that's all. And the last but not the least, I will come back here, and I will have the title, and copy the title, and I will just come back here, and I'll paste the title, just move it down and center it. We have come to the end of this dashboard. employees analysis dashboard. Please, when you find this video, if you find this video interesting, if you find this video useful, please subscribe to this channel and click the bell so you'll be notified anytime we upload a video. And when you want to learn anything about Power BI dashboard, anything about DAS, Microsoft Excel, Python, machine learning, Google Analytics, Looker Studio, SQL, please come to this video. You will find it all available for you to learn. Your comments, your subscription is needed. Once again, thank you for taking this wonderful ride with me. See you.